Argon 18's grey matter now for about 2 years in various different builds, and I really do think it is one of their most underrated bikes. So in this video, I'm going to talk a bit about Argon 18's grey matter and how I currently have it built up with Campagnolo Ekar GT. He's been with me for an hour already and he's still committed to it. Good work, Ladybird. Good morning and welcome to today's video. And I've been wanting to do this one for a while. I'm going to do a video talking about what I believe is the most underrated bike that I have right now. It's the bike I seem to be riding the most. It is Argon 18's grey matter. Now the grey matter is the baby brother of the dark matter. It's the entry model into Argon 18's gravel bikes. Aluminium frame, carbon forks. Mine is pretty bougie though. This bike has been rebuilt 4 times now. Started with the original group set it came with, which was a SRAM Apex mechanical, to go into GRX 1x mechanical, to GRX Di2 11 speed 2x, to now Campagnolo Ekar GT. And in all honesty, all of the group sets have been amazing, and the Campagnolo one I'm quite enjoying at the moment. You will have seen that previously we did a video, my first ride of Campagnolo Ekar GT. Campagnolo Ekar GT. So it's the second generation of their gravel group sets. The first generation is just called Ekar. The first generation is more carbony. The gear ratios on the first generation aren't as wide as the second generation one, I would say. This one has got a 42 chainring on the front and I think it's a 9 to 48 on the back, something like that. So it's quite a wide range, but that 9, like that means you can hold speed up quite well with a 42 chainring on the front. The GT is not quite as premium in terms of how it's made. The Ekar version is lots of carbon fibre, while the GT is more aluminium parts in it, which is fine. I think actually rides fantastically well. Initial feedbacks, brakes are incredible. I would argue potentially the best brakes I've had on a bike, to be honest with you. Really impressed with the braking. It's the modulation of them which is really nice. The shifting takes a bit of time to get used to. You've got the thumb tab and then this sort of lever here. My issues with the lever is I would keep going to press what is the brake as opposed to the lever. So that took a bit of adjustment. And my issue with the thumb tab, although I do quite like it, is that when you're riding on the hoods, you have to then pull your hand back to shift. So that's, to me, I'd rather just have my hands there the whole time instead of having to do, like I can't, that becomes a bit more of a thing to do. You have to move your hand around. When you're riding off-road, it's a bit rough. It's a little bit annoying. On the drops, fantastic that works great. So on the drops is really nice, but on the hoods, the harder gears, a bit more of a motion to move your hand back to it. That's my only real thing really in the shifting on it. In terms of how it shifts, like it's got a defined clunk, but it's quite nice because you know it's in gear. I think it's actually a very beautiful group set. It's very ergonomic. The shifter shape, the hoods is very nice. The way that the lever is shaped for braking, it's fantastic. Really nice. I'm generally pretty damn impressed with it. I really didn't know what to expect and I'm pleasantly surprised, I would say. What ended up being about 75k of gravel we rode, this bike was really good. It does need a clean though, it's freaking dusty. So the grey matter, first things first. Why is this the bike I end up riding the most outside of events? It's because I quite like it. Rides really well. Aluminium frame. It's got a carbon fork. It's pretty bomb proof. It's got big tyre clearance. Officially it's 40s, but I'm running 45s, so it seems fine. The geometry was very similar to the dark matter, especially the previous edition, so feels familiar. And I just don't have to be that precious about it, which is probably a big thing about it. So it ends up being the bike, especially in the winter, I use the most in the winter. Put mud guards on it, just get filthy, go riding. Yes, it is heavier. I've not weighed this bike, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the, you know, close to 10 kilos, but definitely makes a great winter bike. That's probably why I like it so much. I am also currently going up quite a big hill, so excuse my out of breathness. Now the next thing, what is Ekar GT? So Campagnolo, the Italian group set manufacturer that still, I believe, manufactures in Italy, which is pretty cool, make two different gravel group sets, Ekar, which was their first iteration, and Ekar GT, the second iteration. Now Ekar was very fancy, lots of carbon gear ratios, I would say probably more aimed for racing, and Ekar GT brings in some aluminium parts, still got carbon in it, but it is effectively a cheaper group set with more, I would argue, kind gear ratios as well. So for example, at the moment I'm running a 42 for the front and a 10/48 13 speed cassette. So yes, there are 13 cogs on the back, and I believe Campag may have been the first one to do it. If it wasn't Campag, it was Rotor. It's one or the other. So things I love about the group set, the brakes are incredible. I would argue that the Campag brakes are potentially the best brakes on any group set for drop bar you can buy. They are unbelievably good. The modulation on them is exceptional, the braking is exceptional, the bite is exceptional. I can't fault them, to be honest with you. They are absolutely fantastic. Secondly, for me, I really like the ergonomics of it. I heard a lot of people had issues with the Ekar levers ergonomically, saying there was a bump in the lever that made them quite uncomfortable, but they seem to have alleviated that with the GT version of the group set, making the ergonomics really, really good. The shifter shape is lovely, the actual lever is lovely, so your main contact points of the group set feel absolutely fantastic. What I will say as well is the levers are quite small and there seems to be quite a lot of adjustment in them, so you can adjust like the shifting paddle, I guess, and also the reach, I guess, on the shifter as well. So if you have smaller hands, you should be able to pull it in more. Now the shifting, it has a very defined clunk to it. I don't know if you heard that, but there's a clunk. I don't mind that. It means I know it's going into gear. Some people might not like that. Right, I've just pulled over to be able to talk about this a bit better, as opposed to riding up a hill. So yeah, one of the things I'm not so keen on, I would say, is how the thumb tab is. So with Campag, the left hand lever is just literally a brake, so that is for braking, that is it. And the right hand lever, you have this thumb tab here and this paddle here. Now this paddle, you can adjust the reach of it here. When I first rode it, it was basically touching like this and it was sort of catching, which was really annoying. But then subsequently I found out you can adjust the reach of it, so I pulled it back and actually way better now. As I say, the ergonomics of this, absolutely fantastic. Now my little bit I'm not so keen on is this, the thumb tab. On the drops, brilliant. On the hoods, as you can see in my hand here, you have to really move your hands to be able to use it, which is a bit, I don't know, you almost want the button or something here or somewhere like where you don't need to move as much with your hands. That's my only gripe with it. But as I say, the actual braking is exceptional. The crank is basically like an aluminium crank, as you can see. Still very pretty, but you looked at the Ekar one, it's a full carbon crank, a very different looking thing, while this one is the alloy looking one, which I actually quite like the look of. And then there's the GT rear mech, big old spring in it, shifts great. It seems to be that it needs to bed in a bit, but once it's bedded in, it works fantastic. And that is a 42 from the front and a 10/48 13 speed cassette on the back. So all in all, I do actually quite like it as a group set. I think it looks cool. It's actually a really good conversation starter as well, which is a weird thing to point out with Campag, but not many people have it or use it, so they're quite interested in it. And I think as a cheaper gravel group set, because you can actually get it at a very reasonable price now. If you look online, I think Condor Cycles in the UK sell it at quite a good price, and it's not terrible actually. It's quite reasonable for a complete group set. But for me, the big takeaways of this group set is how good the brakes are and how good the ergonomics are of it. Round here, that 10 to 48 seems to be enough in the Peak District, because as you can see right now, I'm really high and I can get up pretty much everything without much of a pain. But I would love it to have like a 50 or a 52 on there. That'd be amazing. They do a 38 tooth chainring, so you can run a smaller chainring as well, which is really good news. Now I'm going back to this, the grey matter. This is, as I say, probably the bike I end up riding the most. I just want to run through the current iteration of it. You'll have seen there's been loads of videos talking about different iterations of this bike. So this Argon 18 is grey matter, aluminium frame. For me, I've just enjoyed riding it. It's quite nice to be riding an alloy bike, something I don't have to be so precious about. But I have got a carbon fork on it, which does help with comfort. We changed quite a lot on this build. You would have seen the build video potentially in the past, but I'll put a link in the description, a little pop-up for the build video, this iteration of it. So this is a size medium grey matter, which I built up with a load of Enve parts. So it's the Enve gravel bar, which is a round bar but super flared, nice and comfortable, with the Enve in-route stem here, with my ladybird friend still here. So this is Enve's in-route stem, so you can run all the cable. So this is Enve's in-route stem, so you can run all the cabling internal of the bike as well, with a King headset, the Aero set here. Wolftooth also make one. There's a few companies making headsets that can work with this kind of bike now, which is really useful. One of the things that we did do with this when we rebuilt it was we built it up with an Enve adventure fork. A couple of reasons really. So I'm running a dynamo on these AG25, so this fork is basically got a hole in it under here, so you can run the dynamo cabling out and into the top here. Just haven't got around to doing it basically. So at some point we'll fully internal route the dynamo cabling and be able to run dynamo lights on it all the time. And then I'm just running some arse savers on it at the moment before I put the proper mud guards on in a while. The finishing kit is all Enve, so Enve bars, Enve stem, Enve seat post. This is a really old Enve seat post that I had in a box of random parts at home. Usual saddle, the Gebiomized sleek. That's what I've been riding on most stuff. And then the wheels are Enve AG25s, which have also been on this bike from the start. Same front wheel, but we had to change the hub over for the Campag one. Enve do make a Campag free hub with their inner drive hub, so you can actually swap them out relatively easily, but you just keep an eye on that if you're considering a Campag build, because there aren't that many brands that do make a Campag hub apart from Campag effectively. Tyres are Schwalbe G1R Pro 45 mils. The frame officially is 40s, but I can confirm a 45 seems to fit pretty well, and the bits where it would be tight are on the rear. And these particular forks which we changed out, there's so much clearance in them, you could probably run a 55 in them. But the original forks that come with it are the same forks that come in the old Dark Matter, which is clearance for 45s, so you'd be fine there. Running Garmin pedals for the power. They do not make a power meter version crank for Ekar. Maybe they will, not sure. And this is a Wolftooth Aero kind of chain guide thing, which works absolutely fantastic actually. And these are just Wolftooth bottle cages. Tailfin top shoe bag on the top just for snacks. But yeah, that's the current sort of setup of it now. And I just enjoy riding it. There'll be more riding of this bike over the winter. Gonna figure out if I can get some proper mud guards on it with these big tyres. Hopefully I can. It might be a bit tight on the back, but we'll figure it out at some point and see what we can do. And yeah, hopefully that explains a bit about Ekar GT, and then the Argon 18 grey matter, which I honestly believe is one of the most underrated bikes that Argon 18 are making. Now, one of the things I am keen to do is to do a build and like ride for several months Argon 18's Equation, which was their entry-level road bike that came to the market earlier this year. As soon as I know more, if I'll be getting hold of one, I'll keep you posted. But I'm quite looking forward to giving that one a good test over the winter and hopefully doing quite a funky build in it as well. Anyway, do you have any questions about the Dark Matter, the Grey Matter, the Equation, or the Campag Ekar GT group set? Please leave a comment and I'll get back to you on that. Thank you for watching. If you don't already, please subscribe. But cheers, have a good day.